Greetings, everyone. All right, greetings. Let me try with the light off for a second. Oh, I think probably we'll go with the light on. All right, so greetings, everyone. Welcome to Florida Seafood at Your Fingertips. My name is Libby Carnahan, and I'm the Florida Sea Grant Agent here with University of Florida IFAS Extension, Pinellas County, here in Pinellas County in Tampa Bay. I do not have the external microphone at home, so let me know if the air conditioning is too noisy or if you have trouble hearing me in the chat box. So just to let you know how this is going to go, this is the first of a series that Florida Sea Grant agents are doing, and we are going to share some of our favorite seafood recipes with you all. And it will be every Wednesday at 6 Eastern Time or 5 Central Standard Time for about a half an hour. And some of the agents are going to do a pre-recorded cooking video, and they'll be with you on the chat. I decided to go all in with the live video, and the chat will be moderated by some of my colleagues as well while I'm on. Then the videos are going to be archived, so we will be able to share them with friends and family. And at the end of today, there's going to be a short evaluation. We do really appreciate your help, as usual, in tweaking those evaluations. As you can see, this is kind of the debut of most of my new kitchen. As you can imagine, that I haven't had many people over lately. Go figure. So so this is a lot of people getting to see my kitchen for the first time, and with this camera angle, you can just see that the ceiling is not quite finished. I know my friends say I did things in a little bit of a strange order, and that's certainly true. So I'm going to make 2 dishes today with canned tuna. You might be wondering if canned tuna is a Florida seafood. Well, let me bring some of these over here. It's not necessarily a Florida seafood, although tuna do land in Florida. Fishermen do collect fish for them, but it is not necessarily caught in Florida, but it is one of the most cost-effective, most easy to get, non-perishable, well-liked, commonly eaten seafoods that we have here in the United States. So these are your regular old can of tuna, and I went to a store yesterday, I won't say the name, but you'll see the label a bit. But these 6 cans of tuna were all together. And so what are the differences? Well, this one says chunk light. This one says solid white, or chunk light. This one has sea salt. Oh, pole and line caught. Okay, so we've got cooking methods. Caught using circle hooks and non-nylon leads. And then you've got some that are in water, some that are in oil, some that have salt added, some might be low salt content. So you just want to figure out what you like, what you're used to. A lot of people want to know if they should shop for a sustainable can of tuna. Our general message, as part of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, is that NOAA does a great job regulating U.S. fisheries, both aquaculture as well as marine and freshwater based. So we say that is a great place to look to find information, and also to know that if your seafood was landed in the United States, then it follows those regulations, and so you can presume that it is going to be sustainable. Sometimes you'll see a stamp, and there are other third-party organizations that do certify a different seafood label as being sustainable. The product or the producer will pay for that third-party verification. So just because it doesn't have a third-party verification does not necessarily mean that it's not sustainable. Okay, before we get cooking, I'm going out over here and I'm going to wash my hands for at least 20 seconds. So what do you guys, let's use the chat box. What, do you do a little trick these days to help you remember how long to wash your hands? Is anyone seeing the ABCs or row, row, row your boat? I watched actress Jennifer Garner do about 5 challenges at one time, and she got under her nails really good and talked about how she was also a TV doctor like many others and learned her hand washing skills there, which I thought was great. Since we're teaching y'all to cook for your family and maybe close friends that you're sheltering with, gloves are not necessary if you were ever going to cook in a commercial setting or for the general public. You do want to make sure that you are following all of the recommendations for that and that you are using gloves, face masks, and whatnot. Tonight I'm cooking for myself and my father, and we are quarantining together, so no mask will be necessary, which will be good. So I'm going to make an entree salad that can be a whole lot of things. So I did not limit my recipe or my shopping list too much. If some of you shopped to cook along, I apologize if this doesn't lend itself so much to cooking along. I said move over Rachel Ray, but in all of honesty, she's probably got a leg up on me without some more practice. So for the tuna pasta, why don't I just go ahead and show you that I did pre-make some noodles. I had a first. I have this new stove top that does a super boil. So I had on super boil while the noodles were still sticking out the top a little. And so some of those actually got a little burnt by fire before they fell into the pot. So do you guys have specific ways that you like to cook your noodles? Let me see, I'm just making sure I got all the chat down here. Whoops, wrong side. Okay. I will let, there we go, you can scroll down. Okay, very nice comments. Yes, we have someone from Indonesia. We've gone international. And thank you so much. Yes, these are Talavera tiles that I got. I do pottery on the side as well, so I wanted something that kind of had a hand touch in my kitchen. So for the tuna pasta, let's say that 10 times twice. Let's just go ahead and cook that one now since I did the noodles. I think that'll be the best way to go, and then we can go into the salad and could get a little crazy. So I've got my noodles here. You can choose. I chose spaghetti on my list. You could choose any kind of noodle that's your favorite noodle. Tuna has that texture that's going to lend itself really well to some of these different types of noodles. So a penne pastas have the ridges that collects the olive oil and the pesto sauce very well. Same thing with this little fusilini, or it says vegetable radiatore. So all the kinds of noodles you can find, whole wheat, made from vegetables, gluten-free. So choose a noodle that works for you and your taste buds. And then you go ahead, boil, and cook according to directions, generally on the stove top. And this is the only cooking necessary for this recipe. So I'm just gonna use my clean hand. As I do, I put a little olive oil on here when they were done cooking so that the noodles don't stick together too much. Of course, they're still a little sticky. So let's go ahead and put some in a bowl here. Actually, I'll get a bigger bowl, so we'll do it all together. Okay. So we'll put our noodles into the bowl. Then we could go ahead and grab our pesto sauce. Pesto is usually found in a jar. It's in the non-perishable section of condiments. It does not have to be put in the refrigerator until you open it. And so let's see, I've got some small ones here. That's just a half a teaspoon. Let me grab the tablespoon. There we go. And we do have new Seagrant aprons, but mine's in limbo. So I chose to wear this little apron, and my mom, if she's in the chat, would have to tell us whether it belonged to her or my grandmother. But it's in my mix now. So we'll just go in here. Usually oil's settled on the top of your pesto. You could stir it a little. You know, it's on the spoon. I'll put it in there, but 1 spoonful pretty much equals 1 tablespoon. I put on the recipe 2 tablespoons. So let's not make me a liar. Let's go ahead with 2 tablespoons. I will be honest, if you couldn't tell already, I am not usually a person who cooks from recipes. I often look up ideas if I can't think of something at the time. Let me angle a little more. But then I usually just kind of take what I found and do some variation. Okay, so with this spoon, you're able to fold over the noodles into your pasta. That's starting to spread out. Could use a little more if you liked a whole lot of pasta, or it's also a very good amount to get your noodles coated. So then we'll get our can of tuna. It's always nice, or at least I think it's always nice when they have these little easy openers, especially if you are thinking about, oh, there's that ceiling. Especially if you're thinking about, you know, you can double this recipe to have it on storage for hurricane season. I hate to say that out loud, but we do have to prepare. Not preparing doesn't make it go away. So make sure we've got canned goods on handy. Sorry about that. That's one of my cats expressing her interest and approval of the tuna. So here you go, you've got the can of tuna here. One reason we really wanted to do this series and promote seafood being part of a heart-healthy diet is that the American Heart Association recommends actually 2 servings per week of a healthy seafood. Now, I try to belong to the group Everything in Moderation. So you've maybe heard some concerns about mercury pollution and seafood. And especially in some of your larger predatory fish, mercury could potentially build up. However, if you're mixing around, well, first let me say this, that the mercury warnings were made for a very specific group of people. Pregnant women, young children, or older or immune compromised individuals. And we're kind of used to hearing some of those folks being part of a separate group right now. And so you do want to keep that in mind. Those recommendations weren't made for everyone. And really, you're going to be way many times under the limit of concern if you're eating canned tuna or mixing up seafood a couple times a week. And when we send out additional information, we'll be able to direct you to the best resources to find the mercury information for each species, help you make those decisions. Okay. So I like the little capers in this dish. Capers, these like little pickled treats that you can put on your bagels. They also just add a little salty zest to whatever you happen to be cooking. So it kind of adds a lot of flavor for a very minimal amount of effort, which we all like. So we can kind of sprinkle them around. You might end up with some non-caper loving people in your family. So you could definitely choose to add these later. It's also a great dish to just put your favorite vegetable in. So if you were up for a little bit more cooking, you could roast some cut asparagus spears, some roasted Brussels sprouts. What was I thinking before? I mean, mushrooms, halved cherry tomatoes. When I was looking for other folks who did this recipe, I just found a variety of things. Some of your vegetables could be steamed in the water, maybe the last 5 minutes with the pasta as well, less dishes. Then you go ahead and you can drain off the water and have the vegetable already together with the pasta. Okay. Now I like fresh ground black pepper and fresh shredded Parmesan on just about everything. But of course, the store variety in a can of Parmesan works. I'm not going to say it works as well. But everything's about convenience and cost and factoring those things in together. Do you have the time? Do you have the money? And do you care? So if you want to get it out on your table fast enough, you can put a little shaker out. If you want to shred a little of your Parmesan, here you got a little shredder. You can bring it around and shred personally for your family if you feel like surprising them with a little extra treat or if anyone's birthday is coming up. And then voila. So one reason we really wanted to teach folks to cook is because a heart-healthy diet is a very healthy one. But also, it's not that people don't know this. People do eat seafood quite regularly, but they are usually eating it out at restaurants, even in Florida. So there's just some hurdles, whatever they may be, price, sorry, I just said that, price, feeling like it's maybe a challenge, maybe nobody taught you to cook seafood, so you don't quite feel familiar with it. You might be worried that it's going to make your whole house stink. I'm going to throw that one out there. Not going to say it couldn't possibly be a problem, but you can always take whatever you use that night, bag it up, get it out in your trash, and then it's not something to really even think about. So here we have a delicious and finished pesto tuna pasta. We'll go with the pesto first. And so that is ready. I kind of wanted to have it in the oven and pull it out because my mom raised me with Julia Child. Do you have any other Julia Child followers out there? I know we're not all the same age as me. Okay, let me check. Yes, we see where the food is coming from. I went on a trip yesterday to one store. So Armando asked me how much is 2 servings. Well, this is interesting with the right, what they put on the bag for pasta and what most of us eat for pasta is very different. So this 16-ounce pasta has 8 servings per container. So that would mean if I took a quarter of it, which I think I took a little more than a quarter of it, then that would be 2 servings. Well, we have this bowl, which actually looks like more than 2 servings. So pasta's not that wrong, what they have on the package. So yeah, I would go with 4 ounces, and I'll be getting the full recipe card out to y'all. And it will have the recipes as recommended with the 2 tablespoons, maybe a little more. I'm inclined to adjust that to 3. And staying with the 4 ounces of noodles, 1 can of a 5-ounce can of the tuna, and then the optional Parmesan shredded and the capers. Okay. Any questions about the tuna pesto pasta? Thank you to my Sea Grant colleagues who are adding some information in the chat box. Okay, yes, and Laura said, I think I said, I don't know if I did say a minimum, but a minimum of 2 servings per week. Some more resources. Okay, great. I wish I could feed you all. I do. I've got kind of a long dining table and really looking forward to when we can be together with more of our friends and family than before. But like you all, I've seen people on Zoom that I don't regularly get to see throughout the year. And so in certain ways, we're getting closer and realizing how we want to stay close with those that we care about. Okay, so now we have the last half to talk about the salad. So I'm going to go ahead and get this dish cleaned up. I just put a spoon in the bottom of it. So when I make a salad, I usually like to, if you're going to make one salad, you kind of might as well make two. So I kind of wanted to call this salad club because that's what we called ourselves at work when we would make these family style salads. But so many of us are away from the office, so I didn't want to limit your view to that. So think about, salad club at home. And what we mean by salad club, because it's such an original idea, was just that we kept a lot of things in the cupboard that could make salads in a pinch. And then we kept a few fresh ingredients in the fridge, like our greens and other vegetables. And we usually had some other accoutrements around, and we would just come in together and start cutting and cooking. And usually it would take about at least 15 minutes to get a salad made, and then we always said it took anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes to eat your salad. But it's really good because you're chewing and you're paying attention to what you're eating and being at one with your food. It's great for the plant-based food recommendations as well. So while our tuna is not necessarily from Florida, all of your or most of your produce can be. Okay, so let's just say salads can be as diverse or more so than pasta. So you can grab whatever greens you like. I'm part of the club that eats kale without worrying too much about the stems and other rough parts. It's good for you. It's good fiber. So I'm going to open up and put a little kale in here. Now, if you don't have someone else to eat with tonight, like I said, to make two, so you can grab a container that you can either take to go or have at home that takes a lid nicely, and make yourself another salad. You can also, some people are into the mason jar salads where you leave some room and shake it up. These are all great ideas because once you finally get the energy to sit down and make a salad, not that it's hard, but a lot of other food's easier. You might as well plan for a couple healthy meals. So this little spinach I've just added. And then for some arugula. I really like arugula. I didn't start eating it until a few years ago. It could be a little pricier, but it also lasts quite a while. And you can use just a little, and it goes a long way. It has a very peppery taste if you're not familiar with using arugula. So we have our greens in there. Okay, so this would be another refrigerator item. We've got our grape tomatoes. So you can cut these little guys in half, but they're pretty small. So I'm going to go ahead and add them as is. One reason I like to cut them in half sometimes is they soak up the dressing better. If you have a good dressing, you always want the dressing to be soaked up. Okay. So now for our beets, I went ahead and tried this new item, and it's got more packaging than I desire, but why I chose this over the jar of beets was the jar of beets had sugar listed second or third on the list of ingredients, and that's not, I don't want a sweet syrupy beet mix. I just want something that's preserved in oil or water and not too much added ingredients, and that's what these are. I also grabbed fresh beets, which are not that daunting. You can grill them, you can boil them. You do want to be really careful with the beet juice, especially if you went ahead and got a solid white countertop. So I'm going to open them here over the sink with a knife. Okay, so I don't run out of too much time. I'm going to focus maybe on one of the salads. So right now I'm slicing the beet here. It's not sweet or sugary. I think I mentioned in my blog as well, and most of us have probably heard how we should eat a rainbow every day. So I think if your salad looks like a nice rainbow at the end, you've probably made yourself a really healthy salad that's getting a lot of different variety of vitamins and nutrients that your body needs. Okay. A couple other refrigerated items. I thought I would take some shortcuts and not take others. So like I said, it's all balancing convenience, but also the amount of time that you have to eat something. So I went ahead and I got shredded carrots and sliced mushrooms. So that means the work's already been done, but it also means they have a lot of surface area exposed if perhaps they're going to get any sweat or mold or mildew and start to go bad. So, you know, if you're not going to be able to cook something for a few days or more, I would go with the whole carrot and then plan on cutting it in the way that you like. Same with the mushrooms. We're a family that wipes the mushrooms with a paper towel to clean them. I want you guys to comment who washes their mushrooms and who wipes them with a paper towel. So these are sliced, so I just generally don't worry too much, which is probably not the way to go. So I should probably buy whole mushrooms, make sure that I'm wiping them out with a paper towel. It preserves the flavor more, but if you're more worried about germs, then by all means wash them. So cut them a little bit more. Mushrooms are another one. Maybe some in your family are pro, some are against. This is also, like I said, a great activity we used to do with our coworkers. So it's a great activity that you could do at home as well. With your young people, if you have young adults or children, you can get them involved in helping. Something I didn't mention in the recipes, but at work, we often like to add some dried fruit or actually some fresh fruit. So keep these in mind for your salads. Here I've got some raisins, some craisins, an apple, some orange slices. Put off to the side. A lot of these go well with different kinds of cheeses, and like feta and blue cheese complement fruit really well. So keep those in mind for something you might want to add and add a little more fiber to your salad. And as I say fiber, I remember I'm the one who likes to make lists, but not always follow all of my lists. And so I just realized that I forgot the garbanzo beans. So if you want to add more protein, or if you're vegetarian, you might want to seek out adding beans to your salad to add some more protein. Okay, and then I'll bring these over here. Eggs, hard-boiled eggs are another great way to add protein to your salad. You can also transport a hard-boiled egg very easily to work, add it later if you would like. Let's see how these turned out. I haven't checked them, so I'm curious, y'all, what is your secret or your way that you hard-boil an egg? So one thing I've learned is that young eggs do not boil as well. They don't make as good of a hard-boiled egg. It's hard to peel the shell. So usually when I've had them a week or more, I boil them. And then I've just adopted a hard rolling boil for 20 minutes flat. And then they seem to be good every time. I know folks do them a little bit differently, but that's my way. So then you get the hard-boiled egg. Okay, and I mentioned artichoke hearts. I don't want to keep you guys late, so I'm going to try and get a few things in really quick here. We are right at 6:30, and that was about when we said we'd go till, but we'll go a little longer. Armando wants to know if you can make extra and freeze the leftovers. So probably of the pasta, and I would say what I would do if I was going to do that is I would probably not add the tuna, but you could freeze pesto noodles and then heat those up at work. Those don't smell too bad, and then you can add your canned tuna, and it won't have gotten heated up in the microwave and got you in trouble with coworkers or anyone else. So the artichoke hearts usually come in water. I'm a big fan. I kind of stopped using hearts of palm, even though I like them, because I'm not sure about that industry and if it's how related it is to the palm oil industry, and so I'm not going to say anything really about that, but say that I'm not really sure. I'm going to check the chat box really quick, and then we'll get our, oops, wet fingers don't like the mouse pad. I'm going to open up the tuna. And so here I have salt added to solid white. Not sure I would need to buy that one again. I think fish usually comes pre-salted from the ocean. So I usually do for the salads about half a can. Also, you don't have to stick to tuna. That's what I did for my program. But here we have this can of whole wild caught pink salmon. We also, you'll find things, Kipper's sardines. I've gotten into eating sardines. I never really thought that I would be a sardine person. They're not as salty as anchovies. Very different. And then I'm going to skip making this salad dressing in the interest of time, but I will provide that in the recipe, a little homemade vinaigrette. So just grabbing an oil and vinegar that you have at home. I was going to add these herbs de Provence that I have from a trip to France. I was so lucky to take when the world was open a few years ago. And then I would add some salt and pepper, olive oil, vinegar, shake it up, and then have that ready to go. And one of my favorite things with salad dressing is to get it in and get it all saturated into your salad. So here is what went into the other bowl. Here's what our lovely finished salad looks like. I didn't put the cheese in either. I had bought feta cheese for tonight. Also, Parmesan goes great. Shredded cheddar is easy to have around, and kids always like the less fun cheeses that us adults prefer more, like the blue cheese. So I think I got most of the talking points out that I wanted to get out. Both of these dishes are relatively easy, relatively inexpensive, although you could definitely scale up the salad to make it more expensive the more things that you add and the fancier you make. But we don't want to think about making it fancy as a barrier to keep us from eating it. So as simple as you need to make it to eat it, and you can have it for a great lunch or dinner entree. Like I said, make more than you need. And if anyone has any questions that were not answered, please type them in the chat. All right, potluck seafood party, I'm all in. My mom said something about osteoporosis. Seafood is also recommended for people with osteoporosis. Very good point from Susan. Okay, Natalie also likes to use the 1 to 2 week old eggs, and then she does a steaming method. See, I'll have to experiment with those. So thank you everyone so much for attending and participating. If you could please look in the chat box and click on the link there. I see there's 27 of you left. I'm so glad that it was 27 when I looked. That's my birthday. I'm a little obsessive about it. Not this month, don't worry. So please do the survey. we're going to look at it. Our presenter next week is going to be Savannah Berry from Cedar Key, and she is going to be making, I think she's calling it Boom Boom Shrimp. Trademark stolen there, but she's gonna show you how to make some delicious shrimp from up there in Cedar Key, Florida, in our Big Bend region. And we do have agents from all over the state, Gulf Coast, Atlantic Coast, men, women, people who've been secret agents a long time, and a few folks that just have come on. And we're really just happy to have this mechanism through Facebook Live to connect with you all when we can't be cooking right in front of you in the same room. But it's also fun that this means we have people from all over the state and some from other countries joining us today. Okay, so thank you very much, and take the video if you would, and hope to see you next week. And also catch out Bite Size Science. That's every day at 4 o'clock. And you can look on the Florida Sea Grant webpage to find out more about those marine science topics every day of the week at 4 p.m. Okay, Savannah's put up her blog. She's so on top of it. So if you want now, you can copy the blog that's in the chat box, and then you'll get your shopping list for next week. And Savannah is has pre-recorded her video, and it's a little more slower and measured, so I think you will find it easy, or at least compatible to cook along with her, and I know I will be there, so hope to see you then. Okay.